Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me again on my session, Turning Failure into Resources. And I want to start thanking the Life Coach University for being able to speak to you today, for providing this platform so that we can share the most precious messages and experiences and lifetime lessons that we have with you, so that everybody can benefit from them, hopefully. So today I would like to speak to you about fast versus slow change, which is very much related, of course, to failure, or let's say to mistakes that happen, because I think you can imagine that if you are staying on the slow side of things, then it might happen that you do things in a way that you actually don't want to do them again and again, which means you don't really get the message, right? And by the way, I always forget that, and I hope that most of you already know me by now. My name is Jutta Jerlich, and I'm an enthusiastic educator. I teach collaboration and co-creation, and I'm really fond of turning things around and around and around until we can actually see the lessons in it that were sent to us. So coming back to that topic of recognizing what it is that we actually need to learn, or being doomed to do it again and again, even though maybe we are already conscious about it. We already know, oh God, I've done it again. Why did this happen to me again? How can I capture that? And first of all, I would like to paint a picture in your mind that maybe helps us at least to recognize what is happening when we're in such a situation, when we are repeating something that we actually would like to capture and stop it from happening before it happens. So you can imagine your mind being a machine of putting out thoughts constantly. I think there's up to 60,000 thoughts a day that are like, shooting from one side to the other and in a circle all around our brains. So it is really, really hard to capture that one moment where we are actually supposed to stop ourselves. So if you can imagine this whole, very, very busy interaction going on, and you might be walking along a pathway and there is a hole that comes in front of you. And because you are so busy with all these thousands of interactions going on, you're actually not noticing this hole that is coming up in front of you, and you walk straight into it. Of course, you're dropping into it. And the very first time you're like, oh God, here am I. I need to be more careful. I need to catch myself when something like this is happening, or before it's happening. I have to be more attentive. I have to be just more in the moment. I have to be more present. Well, the next time you're coming along and nothing has really changed. The busyness is still there. You even have that extra drive on being there in the moment to be so careful that this doesn't happen again, that you're not seeing that hole and dropping into it, and it's happening again. And you're starting to feel like, oh, inside you're building up that pressure, that expectation on you that you have to be able to capture this. How can you be, how can I be so stupid to not see this? This is the self-talk that starts going on. And then maybe even a third time it happens to you. And then it's like, okay, how do I do this? Well, I can share with you what I have experienced and how this has played out for me by doing actually the opposite, by not having these high expectations on myself, by focusing only on one thing in a very neutral way, to try to be present, to be as present as I can be, and to be distanced from that whole fast interaction that's going on in my mind. So the point for me was to learn how to distance myself from those 60,000 thoughts that are constantly going on over the day, to be able to be aware of my surrounding. And I can give you always, looked forward to analogy here from nature. If you think of a flower, a grass, or anything that grows, it just grows in its speed. And even if you want it to grow faster, there's nothing you can do. You cannot pull on it and say, yeah, come out more now, faster. I'm waiting for you to grow, to be there in all of your beauty. It just doesn't happen. And that's kind of this patience that we need to have also with ourselves, that we are able to capture what we need to capture in the moment, in the present moment that we are in. And this is a difficult thing to do, right? I've talked also really fast now. And now I'm coming to that slower pace where we can somehow, feel that presence in ourselves through breathing differently, slower, more conscious, for feeling that we are actually having this trust in ourselves, that we will notice what we need to notice, that our sensors, our body, our organs, everything that we have that allows us to feel and sense will actually work in our favor. They will warn us from anything that comes towards us that represents a danger for us. Do you feel that difference in an approach on how to actually relate to ourselves and to the processes and things that are going on inside of us, that we actually, for the most part, don't have a conscious, a real tight control on? We cannot change that. We cannot say, well, I'll have only 40,000 thoughts today. This is just what our bodies are doing. Our mind is made for doing what it's supposed to do, and we don't really have an influence on this. And this is actually a very, very good thing, because just imagine if we would have to control what thoughts our minds are thinking every minute, and how we are supposed to be breathing, and how the cells have to work together so that we can fight off outside intruders or inside bacteria that just wants to take overhand. There's so many things going on inside our bodies that are working on an automatic mode. So by making that switch to actually trust that we have everything we need, we have all the capabilities to keep us safe, is a complete different view on the world. And it feels so much better already, right? It feels like much lighter. It feels with like more space. and it feels like a slow motion maybe. Now it doesn't feel like a slow motion, but it feels like something where we can really be present. I have to admit I'm struggling with words sometimes on how to explain or how to describe these kind of feelings or this switch that is actually there inside of us. One of the main factors, I think, is to really try it out. Even if you think this doesn't work, why not try? What is there for you to lose? To try out something that you don't believe it works. But maybe you have a couple of minutes and you can just try that. It's not that I'm asking you to invest, I don't know, hundreds of hours into something. This can all be achieved and felt within seconds, actually. But we need to be fully open and fully aware and consciously make that decision to try out a new path, even though it might feel weird, because it's not the usual pathway that we are taking, where we feel comfortable, right? And I just learned this week a really cool exercise. It's not even an exercise, actually. It's something to notice something weird, or noticing that something that you're not doing as you would usually automatically and unconsciously do it is weird if you just do it a little bit different. Well, you can see my hands now, and when we fold our hands together, we are also folding our thumbs here, right? You can see my thumbs. And if you notice how you are putting your thumbs together here, then one of your thumbs is on the top. So my thumb, it's the right thumb that's on the top. Now, if you notice that, then you just turn it around and just put your left thumb on the top. And then feel how that feels. It feels weird, right? To say the least. How does it feel for you? Strange? Unsafe? Awkward? You want to move it back to it as it was before? So this is one example of how we are so programmed and used to certain ways of doing things that even a very, very slight difference is making us feel uncomfortable. So this is what I would like to give you as a inspiration today, to stay in this feeling of weirdness for a bit and allow yourself to be curious on what might be working out differently with that slightly different setting or behavior that you are trying out. And here I'm very consciously using the word trying out. Just imagine this as if you would go and look for new pants that you want to wear, and you are checking out different ones. So it's something like that. It's trying out something new without having to do a complete change. So you're not getting these pants and wearing them for the rest of your lives. You're trying on this new behavior, this new approach, this slight little difference, and you are open to change back to the usual way, the traditional way, the programmed way, anytime you want. We do have free will, right? So we are completely in control. I'm just seeing a message from the audience. I don't think I've ever felt my left thumb on top of my right thumb. Fascinating. Yes, this is exactly the experience I had, and it's so simple. And it's something you can even show to other people in a very, very easy way. And what I would like to inspire you is to take that little incident and apply that to different situations that we are in, and to feel that we can stay in these moments of a bit of a weirdness, trying out something new, looking with curiosity of what might be working out in a different way. And now I'm able to make that loop back to the point where I actually started today. When you feel that something that you would like to change is really changing in a very slow way, maybe what I've described to you today is actually happening to you. That you are very, very critical towards yourself, that you have very, very high expectations, that you are just very strict with yourself. You're actually not like you might be with your even your best friend. You're treating yourself in a much tougher way than you would treat anybody else. And I would like to inspire you and motivate you to try out to do this in a different way, and to really make that switch, to give yourself not just the benefit of doubt, but to really trust in all of the systems that we have as humans to work for you, to protect you, and to allow you to live life to the fullest. And then, if you are in that kind of a state of mind and your entire body is actually relaxed, you are able to lean back because you know everything will work out the way you wanted it, the way that is good for you, which we don't always know actually. So this allowing this the different outcomes actually to just play out, to surprise you, to go with the flow. There's so many different ways of how this has been described by people. Maybe you can use a picture of water. Water is just flowing no matter what. It's flowing around stones. It's flowing under things. It's flowing over things. It just keeps on going. And if we have that picture in mind of ourselves being able to flow in that time and space of our lives, it is just taking away so much of the pressure as well. And then insights really happen. You go into situations completely open for hearing people that you have never met, for sharing your thoughts without thinking, what will the other person say or think about me, for just being who you are fully from all of the cells that are making up your body, mind, and energy field. And suddenly you see something that you've never seen before. You have an insight, you have you have an aha moment, you feel something magic is happening without even knowing what it is, but something is different afterwards. And you see that I'm again somehow running out of words in how to describe that. So maybe you could relate to this, what I've been trying to describe to you today, and check this out for you and find words how it's described for you to also share it with others. I think when we share experiences with others, they become even more real because we have to package them in words and find ways to explain it to someone else as well. That's why this moment that we are sharing right now is a very, very good experience for myself to learn on how to share these experiences, these shifts that I have been able to try out and to see how it works for myself so that you can apply that to your context. I'd be more than happy to work with you on being that mirror, that person that is completely open and honest on an eyes level with you, to try to shift through all those little programs and beliefs that we have in our minds. If you feel that you don't have the guts to try on this small, tiny little change in any kind of a situation where you would want change to happen, more than happy to support you on this. So just get in contact with me and let's talk about it. Let's talk about how I can support you in this change that you want to happen. Now, when we are thinking that something we did, something that happened to us maybe is a failure, the first thing is to really analyze it. Where did this come from? Did it come from a decision we made? Did it just happen to us? And that's actually, analyzing, just as we have been doing this now with the example of you walking along on a pathway with a hole showing up in front of you. So with this, I'm trying to, make the loop again back to our topic about failure and turning that into a resource. The first step is always really going into this reflection mode, analyzing what it is actually that happened. Was it something inside of us? Was it something that we couldn't actually avoid, but we think we were in total control? Where was this all coming from to really understand it? And for this step alone, also, we do need this distance that I've already mentioned today, this distance to ourselves, to everything that was going on in that moment that we would have liked to change. I think this is something big if you can find that courage to try on something in a little bit of a different way and to stand in this bit of weirdness until the curiosity overwhelms you and you were just interested to see what comes next. We all have that within us. I am 1,000% sure, and I can read your, mind right now saying, well, no, no, no. I cannot do that. I cannot walk on different pathways than what I'm used to. I know you can, because we all know how to do that. We all knew how to do that when we were children. We were born with the curiosity to find out what will come next. And that is somewhere inside of us. And very close to this curiosity, you also have the courage to step into this new field, into this next step that you have not seen yourself ever doing. There's a question flying in, and I'm right away picking it up. Are children better at staying with newness and weirdness? I think so. At some point, when school or the system basically settles in to try to mold children into different kind of boxes and standards somehow, and examples that we want them to be, they're slowly losing this openness with new stuff, weird stuff. We can see it even in our animals. If you've ever had a cat or you've seen cats, they will notice right away a small little difference that is in the room or something that has moved. Dogs, of course, too. Everything needs to be analyzed and smelled, and what is different. If something is walking, some small tiny bug or ant is walking across the way, they will just take a look at it. And not only those animals that we have around us, I think all the animals and all the, especially the baby animals, are very, very curious about the world and want to find out how something smells and tastes and what it is doing, and if you can play with it. And that's what we have inside of us, for sure. So if you would like to start playing again, coming back to that play field and checking out how it is to stay in that weirdness, and you need support, then just contact me through Life Course University. Maybe put in a question, ask the coach, come to my next session here in about a month. There are so many different ways to find me. My name is Jutta Jerlich. I'm an educator. I work with young engineers, artists from different professional and personal backgrounds on collaboration and co-creation, because that's where I believe the meaning of life really comes across, when we collaborate and co-create something together. Thank you very much for the Life Coach University to offer the space for us to come together to co-create, to think together, and to celebrate our differences and our commonalities and our weirdness. See you again soon. Have a very good day, and be sure to share the stories with us that happened when you share those insights that you have been able to take away from my session today. Thank you very much also for the last comment here. This is really, really great, and you're making my day if you are now inspired to step into a little bit of a weirdness every day, a bit more every day. Thanks a lot. Take care wherever you are. Bye.